Hey, it's James from All Hail Internal Combustion. Back on the El Camino, I was waiting for some parts to come in. I needed some Quadrajet style base plate gaskets for the carburetor, and I also needed a throttle cable bracket, which I got. So now I can get back to doing stuff on this. I went to the parts store and I picked up some 3/8 NICOP, and I went ahead and ran my fuel line for my fuel pump up to my carburetor, and that is the inlet tube that's going to go on the Edelbrock carburetor that's going on this thing. So I got that all scienced out. What I did was I picked up a new bender. Excuse my mess. But I picked up a new bender. This thing was only 10 bucks on Amazon. I thought I already had one of this kind, but obviously I didn't. And really good for making tight bends, even in 3/8. I wouldn't recommend using this flimsy thing on steel lines. It's good for like NICOP and copper and aluminum, and I think that's about it. So let me set this thing up and show you all how it works if you haven't seen it before. So what I needed to do was I needed to pull off a really tight bend where it came out of the fuel pump. And this is the fitting that I needed for my fuel pump. What you do is you open this thing up, slip your tube in there, and lock it against this back piece like that. But what I needed to do, since I needed to bend really tight, I just went ahead and ran with my fitting in there and actually jammed the fitting against that arm, and then started my bend after that. And you just lever this thing down and you slowly start to bring it around. Now this time I did a horrible damn job on it because it's got a little kink underneath. But when I did the line that's actually on the car, I worked it a lot slower and didn't get that kink. And got that in there, fed it behind the water pump, and then went ahead and manually bent all this so it wasn't rubbing against the block. It didn't hit the alternator. Then I figured out where my upper bend needed to be. Did the same thing with the tool and got it exactly where I wanted it. So now we are ready to move on to putting the carburetor on this thing. And like I said, I was waiting for base plate gaskets to come in. And get you guys around the front of the car. So I was waiting for the base plate gasket to come in. And I'm going to be running a spacer on this because I'm going from a spread bore pattern on the old manifold to almost a square bore pattern. Edelbrocks don't have a true square bore pattern the way a Holly does. So I was thinking about using this phenolic spacer that I picked up because these are good at not letting your carburetor get heated up. And where I had the bolts at before, it actually went down on. But what happened was I had a gap over here on the side where the bigger part of the spread bore manifold was. So this won't work at all. Even if you put a gasket in there, it's going to leak. I do have I have this, which is a spread bore to square board adapter plate. That works just fine. I just have to use my inboard holes because of the way the gasket is. This is a factory style Felpro spread bore gasket, and you got to use your inboard holes on your manifold instead of the outer ones, but that's like not a big deal. So now when this goes down on top of there, it's covered over here on the side where it's important, so I'm not going to have a vacuum leak with this setup. I found another strange carb adapter plate that I've had. This thing goes from spread bore to square bore, I guess, to use either way, but the runners taper off at an angle, and I'm kind of thinking about using this because it's solid aluminum where that one is like compressed pot metal. So I'm thinking about running this thing on here. But what I need to be careful of is that my secondaries on my Edelbrock don't hit these holes and cause it to bind up and not let me get full throttle. And I'll turn you around here and show you the bottom of a couple Edelbrock carburetors. They're like almost like mini square board or mini spread boards, like a quadrajet. This is your primary side, and they're smaller than your secondary side on both of these carburetors. This one's a 500, this one's a 600. So they both have the same thing going on, that their secondaries are bigger. So I need to be careful when I'm mocking this up on the engine that my secondaries aren't hitting. If they do, I'm going to have to go with that other adapter plate. So I've got the adapter plate I want to use on there. And go ahead and put my gasket on here. And then I can put my carburetor on. And I had this snaked underneath the wires. Got it snaked underneath the wall. Drop that down on there, and I need longer studs. And I figure I just changed out and put shorter studs on there. But the way it's on there now, all 4 barrels are opening up, so I can go ahead and use this plate. I just got to go dig the smaller studs out, or the longer studs out, that I already put away last week because I thought I could use the shorter studs. Ain't that the way it always goes? Alright, so that all worked out pretty good once I got the longer studs in there. All 4 barrels open up all the way. So that adapter plate I used is totally fine. And what I did was I picked up one of these cheapo throttle brackets off of Amazon. I think this thing was like 10 bucks or something. And it had another piece here on the back for the transmission kickdown to bolt to. But the El Camino's goes back into the car and hooks to the gas pedal. So I didn't need that piece hanging off of there. And this has got 2 points on it for your return springs, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on there. And feed that through. Put that on. It's got this little bolt on the side here that lets you adjust it so it won't swing on your carburetor. So I can basically run that bad boy all the way closed. So what I want to do is I want to lock this down so that it doesn't move or fall out, because I do need the nut in there. The nut gives me the right amount of space, and this is to keep it from pivoting when it's on the carburetor. So I'm going to shoot some Loctite on that and then come back here and bolt it on and get it adjusted. So after messing around with this thing for quite a bit and cutting and modifying, I found an old bracket. I don't know what engine it's off of, but it worked. It bolted between 2 of the bolt holes on the back of the manifold that I can run my spring into. I need a little bit longer spring because, man, that's going to wear that carburetor out in no time, but that's a parts store thing. And this is the bracket that I bought. Like I said before, I hacked the back of it off for the kickdown cable, didn't need it. It had a leg that came down off of the bottom that is where the spring should have tied to, but I couldn't use that because then the springs were coming in contact with the fast idle cam for the choke. So that's why I had to use the other bracket. Everything's in there. I like the way it is. This is adjusted real good, but I did have to put a couple spacers in between to bring the throttle bracket out because it was hitting on the fast idle cam and a little bit on that arm. So now everything is clear and my throttle should work good. Still got wide open throttle. So we're going to call this carburetor installation done, and I went ahead and tightened my fuel fitting over here on the other side. So we're good to go as far as this goes. And believe it or not, all the modifications on this thing probably took me like an hour and a half fiddling and messing with everything. And that's why when you sell a car, you never get your time back, because we dump way too much time into these things sometimes for what should have been easy. I had some extra 3/8 NICOP left, so I went ahead and used that as hardline sections in between my brake booster and the intake manifold vacuum fitting. And I got one on the other side going from the back of the carburetor over to the PCV valve, and did my old 90-degree spark plug boot trick there, put a zip tie around it. It's nice and tight on the metal line, and it's tight for the PCV valve itself, and I just went ahead and put a zip tie around there. I'll probably put one up this end too, so I don't have any vacuum leaks. But I think I'm going to end this video here. I've still got to get the battery box figured out and a few other things, but now I can cross the carburetor off the list, because that's all 100% set and done finally. So next video, I'll be back on this thing. I think I need to fix the inner fender on that side. It's got some bad rust in the nose, in order to get that back in there so I can put the battery box on it. Or I might just have to make a bracket. Not sure yet, but I'll figure that out. It's been James from All Hail Internal Combustion. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions, just reach out. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And like the video if you like it. See you next time.